Hello everyone, and welcome to a rather special video which I'm doing today in response, a video response. Remember, these were all the craze last year, you know, when you were able to, you know, the weather was nice and you're able to go out and do things which you can't do anymore now. It would have been a novelty when you think about it. And yes, we were doing all these great things, and all of a sudden the video responses took off, and then they stopped, and then they've started again, which is great, which is why we're here. Hello everybody. This is Retro Bear speaking to you live from the Gaming Pantry, and I appear now to have been tagged in one of these, what they call them, sort of video responses to the 90s, favourite 90s things. So I've got the PlayStation 1 on the background. You'll recognise that as G-Police. You may recognise it as G-Police. I just picked it off the shelf. I wasn't really sure what it was. I've had it that long. I can't really sort of tell you if it's any good or not, because I never actually played it. All I know is there are 2 discs, and delightfully I managed to find both discs in the box, which is always a bonus. So yeah, I got tagged on one of these videos which appears to have started across in America, and basically the idea is that you talk about your favourite 90s things. Now, it may surprise some of you that I was born a little bit earlier than that. Yes, wouldn't believe it, would you, really? No, I was born in the 70s. So for me, the 90s were very much sort of growing up, going out to work, getting drunk a lot, doing an awful lot of experimental stuff, and yeah, it was an interesting time. If you can remember the 90s, you weren't there. I think that's what they say anyway. Or was it the 70s? Or was it the 60s? I don't know. So yeah, there's a series of questions. I think there's 7 altogether. I've had to write them down. 1, 2, 3, 7 altogether. And thank you to Gurnaldinho, who tagged me in his video. Thank you, mate. And again, this is not an easy sort of thing to do, because I don't know. I don't remember the 90s. I just don't. I think I grew up more in the 80s. The 90s, I was turning sort of mid-teens, so it was a different sort of time, difficult time for anybody in their mid-teens. Anyway, I'm going on a bit. I'm going to try and keep this one short and simple, because a couple of the answers I really can't go on. 7 questions in all we've been asked to respond to. So the first question is, what's your favourite 90s cartoon? Well, how long have we got? I mean, there were so many cartoons that sort of changed by that point anyway. We sort of moved away from the Hanna-Barbera and the Tom and Jerry's and the Looney Tunes sort of thing. We moved away from all that, and cartoons had a sort of different edge to them. So you had things which were sort of tackling more adventure themes. So you know, things like Pirates of Dark Water was certainly one, and then Animals of Farthing Wood on a completely different level. That sounds a bit silly to bring that one up, but I'm pretty sure that was early 90s anyway. I can't remember. They were sort of, you know, cartoons were no longer sort of about you know, cats chasing mice and rabbits eating carrots. They were sort of moving on a little bit, and cartoons had more of an edge to them. So you had things like the Nicktoons, Nickelodeon. So Ren and Stimpy, which started on there, was very sort of out there to anybody who's used to traditional animation. It was like, whoa, this is completely off the wall, but also incredibly funny at times. I say at times it was an acquired taste. Either you liked it or you didn't. I think it was one of those which sort of sat in the middle. But then that sort of led to things like thinking of Real Monsters, and then you got Rocko's Modern Life. I would have gone for Rocko as my choice, but that was, I don't know. Sort of thinking back, it wasn't. It was good at the time, but I sort of watched a few back and I thought, don't age particularly well. So my favourite 90s cartoon. And this might surprise a few people, I don't know. It's been brought up before, I mentioned it quite recently, with Johnny Bravo. And it was the one of these new what a cartoon type things that came out in the, I think, 93, 94. A whole new range of characters, new sort of different style of animation, different level of humour. And Johnny Bravo wasn't. I don't think he was one of the launch characters. He sort of came in a little bit afterwards, but it was just the style of cartoon. He was a guy who was sort of giant, sort of built bloke. He had sunglasses on, a big quiff, and he used to talk like Elvis, and he used to think he was God's gift to women, except that these were 90s women. These weren't the you know, sort of, they're impressed by all this beefcake stuff, apparently. I don't know, wrong person to ask about these sort of things. But Johnny Bravo was completely different, and he wouldn't change his ways, and he used to think he was God's gift to women, and they just used to sort of give him what it was worth. It was incredibly funny. There was an episode they did which was like a Scooby-Doo type thing. Well, it actually was a Scooby-Doo thing because they were involved in it. So the Scooby-Doo characters and Johnny Bravo, excellent. You don't see it repeated very much now. He's very much a forgotten character, but I enjoyed that, and I think that would probably be my choice as a 90s character. Next question, Sega or Nintendo? Well, that's a stupid question, isn't it, really? I mean, let's be honest with you. It's going to be one or the other, isn't it? And I don't have to sort of waffle on this one. My answer on this one is Sega. Reason being is I looked at Sega's games and I looked at Sega's advertising and I was like, whoa, this is very much in your face. It's flash, it's bright, it's brash, it's like a little bit whir, a little bit wear. And that's the sort of thing you wanted. When you looked at, like, you know, Nintendo with its Mario games, its Kirby games, and another Mario game where he's got to rescue a princess who used to go to the stupid princess school of princesses because she kept getting captured all the time. Well, they keep doing it, I don't know. But though, you know, Mario was sort of like a bit fluffy, a bit sort of, you know, Nintendo was a bit fluffy, the old thing, the old kids games. Yes, I can understand why people say that, but you know, I've grown to love Nintendo a bit more since then. But Sega for me at the time in the 90s with it, I had a Mega Drive. It was pretty much a done deal, and the games just seemed more edgy, more, you know, on a race a hedgehog around a giant field at 100 miles an hour. I want to be doing that. I don't want to be sort of sending a plumber down a pipe and to jump on some mushrooms. No, thank you. No. Sega. Favourite console game? Wow. Now, I had a Mega Drive and a PlayStation 1 when I was growing up. I've been grown up. I actually bought a PlayStation 1 with one of my very first wage packets, if I remember. 1997, I think it was. And yeah, it was your favourite game and where the game played sunk the most time into. And I really wish I'd actually sort of brought it over here so I could show it to you, but I haven't, so I'm not going to. But I will say that probably my favourite game of that era was, and this will be no surprise to anybody, ISS Pro Evolution 98. I've done a video on it. Go and look at my video. It was just a great football game. I had a lot of fun at spending time playing that game. There were so many great games I enjoyed playing times on it. It's very difficult to pick your favourite one, but I think of all the times that I sat down and played a game on a console, and that's probably the one I put a lot of time into. You know, I look at games like Point Blank was brilliant, Time Crisis was brilliant, Golden Axe 2 was great. Even if it was a crappy conversion, Captain America and the Avengers was great fun on the Mega Drive. I used to enjoy that game. You used to play it all the time, finish it. It was great. Streets of Rage, Marvel Land, great games. But if I'm about the one I actually sort of really spent time on, really enjoyed playing, it has got to be ISS Pro Evolution 98. Boring choice, I know, but there you are. Played a lot of console games in the 90s. Favourite comic was the next one. Now that's really, if I just stick this here, it'll be a lot easier to do. Favourite comic. I'd sort of grown out of comics by the time the 90s turned. I used to read a lot of Marvel comics. I used to collect I used to love going to newsagents and sort of buying a little comics, 30, 50p each, something like that, and you come home with a great wad load, and it'd be Avengers and Spider-Man, and wouldn't buy DC. You've got anyone to touch DC with a barge pole. Who reads about Batman and Superman? Waste of time. So I'd sort of grown out of reading comics by that point. I don't think there was any, you know, I wasn't into graphic novels or any of that sort of ilk, the sort of mature stuff. No, so I haven't really got a favourite comic. In fact, I think probably the only thing, magazine or comic I consistently bought in the 1990s was Pro Wrestling Illustrated. I've got to be honest with you, I would probably buy that, you know, sort of 9 or 10 months out of the 12, particularly the end of year issue, because that was always catching up with what it was previously. But yeah, that probably went into the mid 90s. I even used to buy the PWI 500 books, the little books that used to come out. Yeah, not a comic, I know, but that was a closest thing. If you want a comic, The Sun or The Star, possibly, because I used to read The Star on a Saturday morning at work, because it was 10p and it was a load of rubbish, and you just passed the time quite nicely. You couldn't call it a newspaper, or The Sun. And which brings us very nicely on to favourite pro wrestler of the 90s. Well, where do we start on this one? Because that is a real tickler of a question, because, you know, are we talking our favourite wrestlers in the 90s, or are we talking our favourite wrestlers from the 80s who then moved into the 90s? It's a tricky one, this one. And there are so many. I used to love all the people that nobody else used to like Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I met Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I've met Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Jake the Snake Roberts was also a favourite. Also met him as well. God, there were so many of them. You could sit down and watch the technical guys like Bret Hart and Kurt Hennig, and you could watch guys like that for a long time, and the Malenkos and the Guerreros and the Mysterios later on, and you know, that Bret Hart Mr. Perfect match from SummerSlam 91, absolutely brilliant. But I can't ignore my man. Not the Macho Man. I don't know. Macho Man was great, but I prefer pre 91 Macho Man. You know, when he was the Macho Man, not the Macho King, and then sort of became a caricature of himself. Although he was pretty good sort of towards the whole NWO thing. But my man for the favourite wrestler has got to be the Hulkster. The Hulkster. Yep. Yeah, can't be anybody else. I mean, he was just epitomised what that whole WWF American Wrestling thing was about. And he was, you know, he wasn't a Ric Flair. I mean, Flair probably would come in a pretty close second. I can watch Ric Flair matches all day long, because they, you know, sort of make you laugh, and you know, he's brilliant. I mean, Piper as well. I mean, Piper was great with the finger poke he used to do. That was just absolutely superb, brilliant. Pipe was all right in the ring. He's great, you know, guaranteed to get a good fight out of him. But, you know, Hogan used to pump the crowd up, and he was like, okay, he wasn't a technician, he wasn't particularly brilliant. If you want to see, you know, a different Hogan, watch his matches from Japan in the early 80s. Or try and, if you can, find the Stan Hansen match from the just after WrestleMania 6. That was something else. And there's also a match with Tenryu, I think, which I think was the year later after WrestleMania 7, possibly. Not sure my timeline there. The Hulkster is the man. Nobody else can take his place. And that's my choice for my favourite wrestler. Now, favourite song or video, dear oh dear. Oh, that's a tricky one. Favourite song. Favourite song, probably is a fairly decent video to go with it, and this is a bit of a duff old choice, but it's going to be Kylie Minogue, Better the Devil You Know, because that is one hell of a pop song, and you can really feel that she gets the emotion of the song. Something about her vocals are just slightly different on this one. I'm a big Kylie fan, so it's a fairly obvious choice, but that to me, as soon as I hear the start of that record start, you think the old hair's just starting to go on the back of your neck. And then that chorus kicks in, and she really gives it something. I remember somebody mentioned about one of the lines in the song, saying it was probably one of the emotionally best song lines ever. I can't remember. I think I read it on Wikipedia or something like that. Could be made up completely then, couldn't it, really? Completely false. I don't know. But, yeah, Better the Devil You Know. I absolutely love that song. And, yeah, that's my choice. And then the final one is for favourite live action TV stroke episode. And there are so many great programmes in the 90s. The Fast Show probably will be a close second, but I'm actually going to go for season 1, only season 1, of I'm Alan Partridge. No, I'm not Alan Partridge. I know some of you might think I am, but I'm Alan Partridge was possibly the 6 finest episodes of situation comedy ever written. And even 20 years on, I think it was 97, I think it was 97, 98, even 20 years on from it, it's still ball-achingly funny. It is just one of the best things I've ever seen. I don't think Steve Coogan's ever been better. I don't think Partridge as a character has ever been better. You've put yourself in Partridge. I mean, the episode where they drop a cow on him, which features that great line when he's on the barge going across the river, and these people appear across the other side of the river on the riverbank. And I'm not going to say what it is because I'm the politest man on YouTube, so I can't stoop myself to say what they shouted at him. But the bit where he goes to the meeting at the BBC, the stalker who goes to his sort of open afternoon at the hotel. Even the last episode where he sort of like tries to get his contract signed with it is absolutely brilliant. Go and watch it if you've not seen it yet, and I can't be many people haven't seen it. Do go. It's a great thing to watch, it really is, and you'll be glad you did. You really will. So, for what it's worth, that's my 90s, which, as you could probably imagine, was probably better spent off drunk and suffering from hangovers, because they went in an awful lot there. What they do in the 90s, you can tell, not a fat lot. Now, according to this, the rules of this, I should tag 2 other people in this video. Now, I've got to be honest with you, I think pretty much most of YouTube in our community has been tagged on this, because there's a lot of people doing these videos. I've looked at a lot of the videos, I'd like to say I've watched them, I've looked at a lot of the videos, and the amount of people who are tagged in there as well, I can't really think of anybody else I want to tag. So I'm going to go completely left field, and I'm going to say 2 people who spend an awful lot of time in my house, first thing in the morning. Yeah, I'm going to tag... I can't believe I'm going to say this. Dan Walker and Louise Minchin from BBC Breakfast. Get on YouTube. Let them know on Twitter. I know Dan Walker's got a Twitter account. Let them know on Twitter. The Retro Bear is tagging them in this video. Tell them they get on there. I know they're going to know about the 90s. I must know, especially Dan, because he looks to me like he's a man who knows the answer to all these questions. And I'm sure his favourite comic when he was growing up was a Beano. Tell them on Twitter, get in contact with them, tell them the Retro Bear has tagged them for a VR response for their favourite 90s things, and we'll see what happens. Like I said, completely left field. That might fall flat in its arse. I don't really care. It's a bit of fun, isn't it? Thank you very much indeed for watching. I hope you enjoyed this special video. And yeah, I'll see you again very, very soon. But in the meantime, from the Gaming Pantry, take care and bye for now.